Long before the world knew words, when the sky still hummed with silence, and the earth smelled of wet stone and the blood of the hunt, there lay a valley beneath the shadow of the great mountains. There lived a small tribe, the Uru. They spoke not with tongues, but with breath, with gestures, with eyes. Their hands were hard, their bellies often empty. They ate what the land allowed, and they slept where the dark found them. For in those days no one knew fire. And night was their enemy. When the sun slipped behind the cliffs, the world stopped breathing. No birds sang, no beasts stirred. Only the drip of water inside the caves filled the air. The Uru huddled close, hearts beating like frightened drums, afraid of what they could not see, the eyes that watched from the shadows. But among them was one who was not afraid. A boy, lean and quiet, with eyes black as cooled obsidian. They called him Oru'ka. He looked differently. Where the others saw danger, he saw rhythm. Where the others feared the lightning, he saw beauty. He would sit alone by the river, watching how moonlight danced across the ripples. He'd reach into the cold water, feel it move through his fingers, and whisper soundless, "Something lives in you, something I don't yet understand." The wind did not answer, but something shifted faint, almost unseen, between the stone and the air. A spark, a thought, the beginning of something greater. And so began the tale of Oru'ka, the boy who looked differently, and would one day bring light to a world of darkness. It was a night without a moon. The sky hung heavy and starless, like the breath of something sleeping above the world. The tribe of the Muru lay silent in their caves, but Tar could not rest. The darkness spoke to him. At first it was only wind, sliding over the rocks, whispering through the reeds. But then he heard it words, shaped from air itself. "Come to me. Where light dies, life begins." His pulse quickened. He rose, barefoot, his shadow swallowed by the black of the hills. No torch guided him. Only that voice, soft, distant, and ancient, led the way. The higher he climbed, the colder the air became. Mist wrapped around his arms like fingers, and the world below vanished into nothingness. At last he reached a cleft in the mountain, a mouth of stone breathing cold air. He stepped inside. Darkness folded around him, alive and watching. And then eyes appeared. Dozens, maybe hundreds, glimmering faintly. Not human, not beast. Something between smoke and bone moved in the shadows. It spoke, its voice like wind over hollow stone. "I am Oka, the shadow. Tell me, child of flesh, what do you seek?" Tar swallowed his fear. His voice trembled, but his heart did not. "I seek to see," he said. "To see where others see nothing." The creature leaned forward, and the air thickened with the scent of ashes and moonlight. Its gaze burned cold into him, as if measuring the weight of his soul. Then it whispered, almost with pity, "Then open your eyes, hunter, and lose what they will never bear to see." The creature's smile drifted like smoke, thin, knowing, eternal. It leaned close, and the air grew colder, heavier, alive. Then it breathed a slow exhale of shadow that filled Tar's lungs. The cave shifted around him, no longer black, but alive with hidden colors. Warmth radiating from stone, faint glimmers along the walls, the subtle pulse of creatures sleeping in the dark. Tar gasped. He could see the heat of life inside every living thing. He could hear the heartbeat of the earth beneath his feet. He could feel time itself moving, not in moments, but as a river of living motion. The voice came again, low, sharp, eternal. "What I give, I take back the moment you show fear." Tar nodded silently, understanding. The pact was sealed. From that night forward, he could walk through darkness like a shadow, see what others could not, and hear the whispers of a world hidden from ordinary eyes. Their hunts were plentiful. The shadows no longer hid their prey. Tar led them through the darkened forests and silent plains, his eyes glowing faintly with the power of the shadow. Where others stumbled, he walked with certainty. But one night, beneath a sky empty of stars, he saw something he was never meant to see. A shadow rose larger than the mountains themselves, its form blacker than midnight, its eyes glowing like molten coals. It moved without sound, ancient and patient. Tar's heart thumped, a sudden tremor of fear. And just as the voice had warned, the gift began to fade. The warmth in his vision dimmed. The hidden colors of the night dissolved into black. The world swallowed him again, silent and empty. In the far distance, a sound lingered. A laugh, soft and eternal. The echo of Oru'ka, the shadow, watching, waiting, knowing. Tar sank to his knees, feeling for the first time the cost of seeing too much, and understood that knowledge, even in the dark, demanded courage beyond any mortal heart. Blinded by the fading gift, Tar walked alone. The valley stretched before him like a wound in the earth, barren, lifeless, silent. No wind stirred, no bird sang, no river whispered. Even the stones seemed hollow, echoing only his own ragged breath. And then, from the emptiness, the voice returned. You wished to see, now you will see what none can bear. Before Tar's eyes, visions erupted fierce and unrelenting. Cities of stone and fire, rising from ash. Men with fire in their hands, yet hearts colder than the shadow itself. War, hunger, blood flowing through streets that would not exist for millennia. The distant cries of a world yet unborn tore through him, and the weight of all these unseen futures pressed down like stone. He fell to his knees, screaming into the void, his eyes burning white with the knowledge too heavy to hold. Time itself seemed to shiver and warp around him. And yet, even as despair threatened to swallow him, he felt the faint pulse of the shadow's gift still lingering. A whisper of what he could endure and what he could survive. When Tar returned to the tribe, the people did not know him. His eyes were pale and empty, like stones washed by time. He spoke no word, touched no food, and slept only in the shadow of the mountains. At night, when the fires died and silence ruled the valley, he would rise and walk into the darkness alone. No one dared to follow, but they heard things. Footsteps that echoed like two, not one. Whispers that did not belong to human throats. The sound of something vast moving through the trees, slow and patient, like the breathing of the earth itself. Each dawn, only his footprints returned. And beside them, the prints of something not quite beast, not quite God. The elders grew afraid. They built a circle of stone where the tracks met, and there they waited for Tar. But he never came back. The next morning, the mountains were wrapped in black mist. The hunters swore they saw a figure walking within it, a man and a shadow, bound together, moving toward the peaks where the sun would never reach. And so they named the stones the Eye of Tar, a place where light and darkness meet, and where the Watcher of Shadows still walks. Generations passed. The mountains changed, rivers carved new paths, and the names of men turned to dust. Yet the stone circle remained cold, silent, unbroken. The people no longer hunted the same lands, but when the moon split the sky half light, half darkness, they remembered. The elders would raise their hands to the heavens and whisper, "That is Tar, the hunter of shadows." They said his spirit still walked between worlds, one foot in the realm of flesh, the other in the breath of Oru'ka, the shadow. When the night turned too quiet, Some swore they heard his footsteps echo across the valley. Soft, steady, eternal. Mothers told their children, "Do not fear the dark, for Tar walks there. He sees what others cannot, and guards those brave enough to look into the night." And when the rare eclipse covered the world in silver and ash, the sky itself seemed to hold its breath. The tribes would kneel, eyes lifted to the blackened moon, and whisper the old words carried through generations. Oka breathes, and Tar watches back. The wind would shift, the fires would flicker, and for a heartbeat, it was as if the hunter's gaze still lingered, guiding the living through the endless dark.